regardless of where you are in your business, whether you're starting out, you're a little bit seasoned, or you're an old pro, we always are trying to make it rain in our business, right? And that means finding new clients and customers. And if you've ever felt any stress about doing that, you are going to love today's episode and hearing from my very good friend, Jill Celeste. She is the author of That First Client, and she sheds so much light on the sales process and everything that you need to know to attract the perfect clients into your business. Are you ready to dive in? I know I am. Episode 246 starts right now. Hey there, welcome to the Lora Shipman Show. We hang out here weekly to talk about things like social media, entrepreneurship, marketing, tools, strategies, tips, and it all starts right now. Hey there, before we get started with this show, I just want to share my passion with you. I love teaching people just like you how to master social media for business, breaking it down into easy to consume and easy to execute steps so that you can see immediate results. So whether you want to start a social media consultancy or grow your brand's presence on social media, I can help. I can help you get started and master all the things that you need to know. So I want you to go over to my website. It is filled with resources, tools, tips, and courses. Visit lorashipman.com. That's LORA shipman.com to get all the goods. Now, you ready for the show? I know I am. Let's get started. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm so glad you are here with me today because I've got my good friend Jill Celeste with me, and she's a powerhouse. She is a 2-time author. Is that right? Did I get that right? 2 times?
You did.
All right, cool. And she always has a wealth of information. I don't want to steal her thunder because we're going to go into one of her books that we're talking, or that we're going to talk about today. And I want to give her all the airtime possible. Jill, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here. Can you let our audience know who you are, what you do, and how you help?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me back. It's always great to be on the Lora Shipman Show. So those of you who don't know me, I'm Jill Celeste. I am an author, a speaker, and a loud woman. I'm the founder of Celestial University, which is an online campus for female entrepreneurs where they come and learn about marketing and mindset. And we have a lovely sisterhood of women there who support each other and learn together. And when I'm not doing all of those other things, I am working with my basset hound and helping getting Trixie socialized, which seems to be a full-time job too.
She's so cute, though.
Thank you.
She's adorable. Actually, if anybody wants to see Trixie, she's got an Instagram account, doesn't she?
She does, because I don't have enough on my plate. I made a dog account at Trixie the Basset. You can go check her out on Instagram.
Definitely do that. Well, we're going to talk about your book, That First Client, and I'm excited to hear about this and how you came around to creating the book, That First Client. So take us down that path just a little bit.
Okay. So That First Client originally published in the summer of 2016. It's the result of a challenge that my mentor threw down to say, in 90 days, you can write a book. And I thought, oh, okay, sure, I'm a writer. So I took the challenge. But in the middle of the writing process, my father passed away. And I abandoned the book. I thought, I can't do this. I felt horrible, as you might imagine. And then I started thinking about what Dad would want me to do. And I knew Dad would want me to finish the book. So I did, quite imperfectly, finished That First Client, released it in July of 2016. And then I sort of let it sit. I didn't really do much with it because I knew it was imperfect action. So it got picked up by a publisher, Highlander Press, and my editor suggested I do a second edition of That First Client. And we re-released it in January of 2021. And I'm super excited it's out there.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that was the backstory on that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So what is That First Client all about?
So originally it was written for a brand new entrepreneur, somebody who is new to her business and is looking for that first client, because you and I both remember how exciting it was, but also how hard it seemed to get that first client. But the book is of course for new entrepreneurs, but really it's for any entrepreneur who's looking for more clients, because what it talks about is creating a reliable and efficient marketing system so that you're constantly attracting clients to your business. And I break it down step by step by step. So there's no guesswork. And if you do everything in the book, you will get clients.
Really? Okay. Can you kind of
Yes.
like give us an overview? Like, what does that look like? What does that
Sure.
system look like that we need to be doing so that we can
Yeah.
continually get those
Yeah,
clients?
because everybody wants more clients. I know I do.
Right. Yeah.
So the first step is to know who your ideal client is. That's always the first step. A lot of, especially new entrepreneurs, but a lot of entrepreneurs at any stage of their business often forget that are here to heal certain people. We're not everyone's healer. So really identifying who your ideal client is key. In your marketing, you want to make sure all of your marketing messaging, all of that matches your ideal client so that you're attracting them. So that's the first step. The second step is to let people know who your ideal client is. So you do that through asking for referrals. I recommend sending letters, sending emails, getting out there through networking, speaking opportunities, and getting your visibility increased, letting people know who your ideal client is. And then you want to have a sales process, right? Because now that you're out there, you want to start attracting some possible clients. So what does that sales process look like? I spell that whole thing out, including a very robust follow-up process, because that's usually where we fall down on the job, is we forget the follow-up. So we talk about that as well. And then I end it with talking a bit about social media, your website, gathering testimonials, getting headshots, all those sort of little things that we want to do that sort of dot the I, cross the T's to make sure we have a good marketing system in place.
It's funny because most entrepreneurs kind of jump into their business, but they don't really nobody gave them this little guidebook that says,
right,
this is what you need to do. These are the steps that you need to follow. We just know that we've got a solution to somebody's problem, and we just need to get it in those people's hands, but we don't know the method to get us through that.
Right. Often we are so good at our craft, whatever it is, whether you're a health coach or a photographer, or maybe you have a landscaping business, whatever, you're good at your craft, but very rarely do people take a marketing class or learn marketing in their learning of their craft. And so this is your primer. This is your book to help you figure out how to market your business from the basic essentials.
So I imagine that someone who gets this book, who's an entrepreneur, it could be for that newbie person, but it could be for someone who's more seasoned, but maybe their business has shifted a little bit and maybe they need to re-identify who that ideal client is and then go through the process again.
Yes, absolutely. And also for seasoned entrepreneurs, based on feedback that I've received from my readers of this book, is that it reminds them the things that they have forgotten to do or have lost focus on. It sort of regrounds them back into the marketing process, because maybe they had learned it, maybe they went through a mentorship or something in the past, and they're like, oh yeah, I should really do that. And by just adding those little pieces back into their marketing improves significantly. It's often just those fine adjustments that really make a difference.
And you can only do that when you revisit things like that. Like you can't just assume that, you're going to be able to continue just marketing the way you were always marketing. I think you always need to go back and take a look at it. So what's one of the biggest mistakes you see entrepreneurs making?
So the first one, as I already mentioned, is not knowing who their ideal client is. This is a big one because a lot of times we get a scarcity mindset. We think, oh, everyone's my client.
Yeah.
Everyone's my ideal client. I once had a travel professional in Celeste University, and she's like, well, anyone who wants to travel. I'm like, okay, well, let's get a little more narrow than that, because not everyone who wants to travel wants to hire a travel planner. So we look at things like income, what keeps them up at night, what their demographics might be, knowing those and really fine-tuning so that your niche becomes quite evident to you, and you know that niche very intimately, for lack of better terms, so that you know that you aren't there for everybody. And that is the biggest mistake I see time and time again at any stage of entrepreneurship. Really, really want to know who your ideal client is and own it.
And that can change over time, right? I mean,
absolutely.
And it can fluctuate. Okay. Yeah, because I see that mine shifts a lot all the time. So when you're in that first client, is there something that takes you through how to identify who that ideal client is?
Yeah. So there's the book, which has everything in it. It has scripts, letters, sample emails, step-by-step direction. And then I have a companion workbook that is available for free. So you would purchase the book through your favorite bookseller, and then you can go to my website, which is jillceleste.com, and you can download the companion workbook. And what that is like a 20-ish page workbook. You can print it out, or you can type your answers right there on Adobe. But what it does is it adds the legs to all the exercises in the book. So you have a place to write.
That's really
down
good.
Your responses, yes. And it takes everything. There's actually like a little checklist for each chapter. So you can check off, okay, I did this. And it gives you space and prompts you to answer questions, things like that, so that you have that resource in addition to the book. Because I don't know about you, I can read a book, but often don't take action on it. But if I have a workbook, I mean, let's get the pens out, let's get the highlighter, the Post-it notes. I'm more apt to go ahead and finish those exercises. So if you do purchase the book, go get the companion workbook, because it's free. It's a free download, and you can just print it out, like I said, or just type your answers right on your computer.
Well, that's what I love about the book. It's not a book that you'll just sit there and read. Like I wrote down, it's a take action book. Like it's going to force you to go through the steps, take action. So when you come out the other side, you basically will have like a marketing plan in your hands.
Yeah. You have one that you can rinse and repeat, which is so lovely, because, a lot of times and I'm a marketing expert, you are as well. We get the flavors of the month. We see them on our Instagram or Facebook feeds. We think, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. But really, these are the down home fundamental marketing strategies that are timeless. And it does not matter where you are in your business, where you live in the world. These are the marketing strategies you want to incorporate into your marketing plan. And so I just give it to you right there in the book.
That's amazing. That's really good, because it's like a foundation. And like I said, most of the businesses, like the entrepreneurs, if like a true entrepreneur, you just kind of go out there and do it, and you take the risk and you jump in 2 feet, but you probably didn't take the time maybe to build that foundation. And this is going to, and if you do the work, I imagine up front, throughout the longevity of your business, it's going to help you throughout. You're going to be thanking yourself. Your future self is thanking you right now for taking that action.
And on the flip side of that too, some people want to start a business or are in business, but are paralyzed because marketing seems so overwhelming. I always compare it to like one of those Las Vegas buffets before COVID, of course, when you used to be like pile your plate up. There's like marketing. There's so many marketing things you can implement. And then for a lot of entrepreneurs, that becomes paralyzing. You don't know where to start. This book will tell you where to start, and then take you to the next step, and then the next step.
Okay. And so then it doesn't actually have you doing like all the shiny thing up, like it's got you focused on one path, and that you'll stay on one path. That's so important, because you're right. We will go on Instagram, or we'll go on YouTube or whatever. And like some expert over here is talking about something, some guru over here is telling you something else. And it is so overwhelming. It's scary.
It is overwhelming. It's a lot of good intentions, of course, but if you can really nail down the fundamentals and from this book, then you'll be ready for what the mentor over here is offering, because you'll have that foundation. It's sort of like building a house. And I know you talk about this in social media. You need that foundation board. Yeah. And that's what this book will teach you.
And then layer on top of that. Cool. Yeah. That's awesome. So what's one of the biggest takeaways you think somebody would take away from this book?
My hope is that they see that this is doable, that this is not rocket science, that this is it's a discipline. It's something you have to have a habit around, all those types of things, kind of like exercising, but it's not something to dread. It's not something to hate. It can be a very authentic, feel-good process, including the sales part. And when they look and they see the milestones to accomplish on the process in the book, they're like, okay, I can do this. I can write that. And I break it down to bite-sized chunks. And then when they look back, they're like, wow, look at all this that I came up with. So that's my intention, to show that marketing is doable.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you also have another book that you're working on. What is this one's kind of exciting? What is this one?
So not related to marketing at all. I am releasing a book in September called Loud Woman, Goodbye Inner Good Girl. And it's a new subtitle. I just figured it out.
I love that.
And it's a book about my journey of becoming what I call a loud woman. So a loud woman doesn't necessarily mean loud as in noisy or increased volume. Loud is about tapping into your inner gifts, into shedding the expectations of society and other people's expectations of you, and just living your life in your fullest capacity without apology, without explanation. And I have revealed some very interesting stories from my past, things I've never shared before.
Wow.
To show how I went on this journey, and then give tips on how you can become a loud woman too. And really, it's a manifesto. It's a manifesto for all of us women who are tired of just being told what to do or how to act or what our expectations are. We know that those things don't serve us. And we just need a big, giant permission slip to say, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. This book will be that permission slip.
Wow. And it's so true, because I think for as liberated as we want to believe we are, we're still in these little boxes, and we're still expected to behave a certain way, to act a certain way, all of these things. And I love that you're kind of giving us that voice. So is there a workbook included in this one too, or is it a straight read? Like, how does that work?
So this will be more of a traditional book. It'll be available in paperback. I won't be doing a hard copy, just because I want to make it as accessible to people as possible, and that brings the price down when you can do a paperback. But I am envisioning some Loud Woman merch, some shirts,
yes,
and of course dog bandanas. I have to have the dog bandana for Trixie, and magnets and things like that. So this will be sort of a different way of promoting the book than my other book. And I'm really thinking about like a credo or some kind of official is not the right word, but just some kind of document that really extrapolates everything from the book, because I have these traits, about supporting other women and self-trust and all these different traits that I have identified, and just putting that on a poster or something that somebody can just download and stick it over their computer to remind themselves how to be loud.
That's really cool. I love that. Okay. So are there going to be other platforms that maybe emerge from the book?
So I really see Loud Woman as something that people identify themselves as. I hope to see people identifying, like in their Twitter, Loud Woman. I really am hoping that really takes on. I see it as a movement, as a collective, for all of us. And I'm thinking about down the road, as you sit and drive and you dream about all these different things. I thought, it'd be cool to have a Loud Woman version for young readers. Yeah. And it'd be kind of cool to have a Loud Woman version for entrepreneur, so who knows what Jill will create next based on that. Certainly the first domino, but I have my fingers crossed that this book will impact so many women, and we will see this collective energy, this wonderful feminine energy, just swirling out there, and we can see women taking their rightful space in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So what I love is your Instagram feed, because
Thank you.
You are amazing. And so if you guys aren't following Jill on Instagram, you really need to, because every once in a while she'll throw a quote out there that just kind of hits you right between the eyes, and you're like, oh, she's so right. Like I'm like, oh, like I can't tell you how many times like I've sat there and looked at it and just went, and they're just so impactful and so powerful. So what is your Instagram handle so people can go check that out? Because I know while they're listening to this, they can like toggle over to Instagram and start following you right now.
So it's super easy to find me. I'm Jill_Celeste. And if you like, a lot of what I post is about being a loud woman. So if you just need inspiration or a motivation, you need a kind of a girl power pep talk. That's my intention with with my Instagram. And I do cuss. So if that offends you, maybe not. But I think most of us can appreciate that. Sometimes it's just the right word at the right time.
Exactly.
And I've got into writing little poems and things lately, kind of just funny little things. And I just want us to remember our power as loud women, because we all have it. We all have it.
Definitely. And Jill has, I call them Jillisms. You don't even know this, but I call them Jillisms because there's so many things that she'll say that just from a marketing perspective, from a business perspective, from a woman's perspective, that just, they stick with you forever. My favorite one is because I'll never forget, I was having a bad day about something. I don't know where we were, like if we were talking face to face or if we were like over Instagram or something. And I just was saying something. You said, well, Lora, it's the breakdown before the breakthrough. And I'm like, it's one of those things again. And so when everything starts falling down around me, sometimes I think about that and I'm like, wait, there's Jill in the back of my head telling me this. So your advice and your counsel is so amazing on all levels. And you're so like multifaceted in all the things that you do. I think people people will get like a ton out of the books the book that's out right now and the one that's coming. And then Celestial University is an amazing resource too.
Thank you.
Do you want to dive into that just a little bit, what
Sure.
that looks like in case somebody's interested?
Yeah, so Celestial University is for female entrepreneurs, at least in its current iteration. Who knows, I might change that down the road. But for right now, it's for female entrepreneurs. And like a university that you go to, it's got many different components. One component is social networkers, which I know you're familiar with. It's our online women's networking group. We've been doing this before COVID, since 2018. We have 4 chapters, so you can learn more about that. I'll give you some links here in a second. And then the Celestial University Mind Soul track, which is the education track. This is where people come in and get a monthly learning class, a live class. We take one topic, marketing and or mindset related, and we drill down and I give you exercises and give you time to implement it. Speaking of implementation, we also have study hall, which I know is a favorite with you, Lora.
I love that.
Study hall is where we gather for 2.5 hours and we just work on whatever we need to work on. It's just a lovely container. We do it through Zoom. We mute our microphones and we just co-work through the virtual space. It's a very popular feature of Celestial University. And then we also have Q&A calls so that we can ask me questions or ask you questions. It's really more of a mastermind sometimes. And that's really cool as well.
And then like usually what is it, fourth quarter, you do like an annual planning session, which I thought was phenomenal. You want to like touch on that?
Yeah. So we do it twice a year.
Oh, okay.
So you're gonna find out about yours. Come here. We do a mid-year planning day in May, and we sit for about 3.5 hours together, and we plan the next 6 months of marketing. And I walk through that process, and then I repeat it in November for the new calendar year, for that first 6 months. And that way we just always know where we're headed. That doesn't mean that things won't change. Of course they will. But if we have a track that we can focus on and make sure we're staying intentional to our marketing goals, that's where the planning days come in and be helpful.
Yeah, it's really well worth it. Your business will thank you for it for sure. It's amazing.
Thank you. You can learn all about it at celestialuniversity.com.
Yeah, so go check that out. I'll include that in the show notes.
Thank you.
Also, you have the free download, which is the workbook that goes along with the book that I'll include in the show notes too, so people can get that. And I think that's amazing. I'm excited for, I love that first client, but I'm also excited for Loud Woman. It's going to be incredible. You've got like a bright future going. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I hope that's my hope. I just want to impact. I want women to just get louder. Get louder, ladies.
You heard it from Jill. Go get loud. Go follow her on Instagram. You will love it. Jill, is there anything else you want to leave our listeners with today before we sign off?
I'm just going to do one quick rant, one quick soapbox. This is from my book. I've been on this trend lately, and I know you've probably seen it on my Instagram. So just one final thought. Stop apologizing, ladies. Stop saying you're sorry. I would love for us to, if you could, just think about all the times today you've said you're sorry and how many times those situations really warranted an apology. Often we will say, I'm sorry. It just comes out of our mouth like, hello, how are you? I'm sorry. And what happens when we apologize needlessly is we're giving up our power, and we don't want to do that. There's other things already trying to take away our power. So let's keep the things that we have control of. So today, apologize if you make a mistake. Apologize if you hurt somebody, of course. But otherwise, say something else. Say thank you or excuse me or whatever the case may be. But that's my newest rant thing I'm really on. And I hope that resonates with your listeners too.
I love that. And I think it will, because I'm one of those persons who's like out there apologizing for no reason whatsoever. It's like you say, it just rolls off the tongue. And I think they're just filler words. And I've stopped myself again. That's another Jillism that's in the back of my mind. What can I say instead of I'm sorry? And I do usually find, what has worked well for me is when something bad happens to somebody, and it's not my fault. It's just I'm hearing a story. I'll say, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Instead, I'll say something like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Like
that
using,
sucks.
Like using other words instead of, taking the blame when it's not even yours to take.
It's not yours to take. Yeah. Good.
Right.
Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you. Yay. Jill, thank you so much for being here today. This was so much fun. I love always chatting with you. You always have such great words of wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Hey there, I just want to say thank you for spending time with me here today. I know your time is super valuable, which is why I am dedicated to providing lots of usable, actionable information in the shortest amount of time possible. Before you go, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. And if you have ideas or topics you would like me to cover in an upcoming show, let me know about it in the comment section provided.